Tim, I mean, you deal with ISPs and mobile operators. They're part of your client base. Do you sort of see more coming through? Because it has been just been a little bit stalled in terms of where we might have thought we might have got to by now.
Well, ultimately, you have to look at the motive of the ISP or the mobile network operators to, what they want to do with content services, and so often they have a large roadmap of services they have to roll out, and so they'll roll them out, and then it may be roll one thing out and then move on to the next thing. So really, to make something work, you need to you need to be committed to providing a long-term marketing strategy for that service. I think that's something that needs to be to be pushed on future services. I also think that there is a huge opportunity because a lot of the operators and ISPs are melded together now. So if you look at Orange, or if you look at Virgin Media, those aren't guys that just go, well, I do broadband or I do mobile. They do all of those things. So you've got the opportunity. There are companies like us. We're not the only company out there that does this kind of thing, but one of a handful of companies. But in terms of cloud-based cross-platform music services that are international, we are very well placed to provide those services, and we are, working with a number of different partners to provide services that work not only across on your phone, but maybe on your computer and on your TV as well as, because I don't think you're just going to listen to music just on your phone in the future. I agree that the access is going to get better, more people will have access to them, but I think personally that you're going to want your music experience on a range of different devices. Because when you're sat in your living room, are you going to be listening to music on your phone if you're sat in your living room? Or are you going to be listening to your hi-fi or maybe your TV? So it's about place shifting your music experience across a range of devices. Don't forget, when I'm driving in my car, currently the options that I've got when I'm driving down the road in my car are what, everyone? You've got CD player, radio. Most cars, a lot of cars still have cassette players in them for the ultra cool for Scots bands, and but that's reality. And can anyone tell me what the number one reason why cars get returned to their manufacturers when they're in warranty? Anyone give me an idea? Bear in mind this is a music related.
CD player doesn't work.
Correct. So as far as I can't remember exactly where the stat came from, but it's quite an interesting fact. So guess what? Car manufacturers are very keen to kind of find the next generation of music services for the car, and we know that car manufacturers, they work on much longer lead times than consumer electronics companies, but by the end of 2012 into 2013, you'll start to see mainstream car manufacturers putting in mass market cars internet connected head units. And what does that mean? It means that
crashes. Lots of crashes.
No, because it's voice activated and very intelligent stuff. But it means it just in the same way as you can have a HSDPA or mobile phone or even 4G phone eventually, you'll get that connectivity to the car, which means that instead of a CD.
Let's not forget, I wrote, every mobile person I interviewed for at least 3 years, I was like, are you ever going to put a 3.5 mil connector on your handsets? And Motorola was the only one that did it, right? They were alone on their, I guess it was a Razr, I can't remember, it was a Razr. And it's such a little thing. You say, like in the living room, well, there's such little things that are so obvious to so many people to do that it's so frustrating to watch. And within the industry and the economic models occasionally, and also within the hardware, put a connector on it that goes into my PC stereo, and I don't need anything else but my mobile. And so it was just amazing that it's an example of it must have been deliberate. I can't think of a reason why it was
deliberately to frustrate us.
Because you had all those bespoke Sony Ericsson and Nokia, and everyone had their own different connector. And how frustrating! Maybe some hardware designers know that's probably a good reason for it, but it was really frustrating to music then.
We're going to come out to you in a moment, right? But just one sort of last question over here, so you can be thinking about your questions, so we don't have that embarrassing moment when there's no one with a question. One last sort of round of questions here, which is what can the industry do then? What should the industry be doing better to help this market grow? James, you, as a representative of the rights owning side, what would you be doing better?
I think we're doing a hell of a lot right at the moment, and I would say that. But it is the case. We're engaged with everyone who comes to the table. Anyone who's looking to launch a service, we discuss what they want to do with that service, what the model is behind it. I think we need to guide people a bit more. I think we need to share research and share learnings and ensure that when we're talking with, and let's make no mistake, the ISPs are very important at the moment, as are the operators. Critical sort of conversations that will be ongoing for the time being, and obviously we've had opportunities to get close to launching services with them in the past, haven't quite got there, but Universal in particular have been very forward thinking in that area. But I think we need to really look at, I mean, there's a negotiation process. It can take quite some time to license a service, just in negotiating what the service will be, what our usage rights are, what the commercial model is underlying it, and there's a very real risk that in that time frame what users want can actually change drastically as well in that period. So I think we need to be careful about being as rapid as possible with our licensing process, guiding the people that we're talking to make sure they're putting out into market what customers really want, and working with them on sort of mutual research and sharing understanding and thinking ahead as to what people are after. Because do you want an all-you-can-eat service with a load of downloads as well at the end of it, or if you've bought into a kind of cloud-based jukebox, celestial jukebox service, do you really need any a la carte downloads underpinning it? Maybe, but we need to sort of really share that knowledge and make sure that the right kind of services are going out there. Equally, we need to kind of nurture the technology providers and the people who are going to sort of underpin these services and put stuff out there, because if there's not an interest for them being in that market, if there's not a value to them being there, then there's not going to be the technological investment which is required by the customers to make sure they're getting an experience they actually enjoy, because there's nothing more frustrating, as we've already discussed, about having a service that doesn't move from the device to device as you want to experience it, and be able to pick something up on your TV screen that you left off playing on your mobile when you walked in through the house. I mean, they're things that we've been talking about for years, really. But technology, as quickly as it moves, it always plays a chase-up game with what we're thinking we should be experiencing. And tablet devices and iPads have been sort of in the consciousness for quite some time. But it's only in the last couple of years that we really see the technology getting to that point where those kind of devices are at the level where people are actually bothered about using them, rather than some clunky hunk of shit that people are not really going to spend any money on. So it's kind of the convergence of all those issues at once, whilst making sure that at the same time that we as an industry are earning enough revenue and income that we can reinvest back into the artists, which are the core of all this. Lest we forget that we need to be able to invest in the recording. And I know all these costs have come down, but equally, as much as everyone sort of talked about MySpace and the opportunity for any act to launch themselves to a global audience, and there is that real potential. It's difficult, and there's a real need for labels to kind of create a platform and a voice for those artists. And marketing is very disparate now. It's a very fragmented route to talk to your audience. There's a lot of different touch points, so it requires heavy investment. So to go back to what I was saying, to put all those things together, you've got to bring that all in alignment at the same time, which isn't that straightforward.